evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton here with my great friends, McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Uh, Looking forward to the show, guys. We're going to be joined by one of our great friends, D. Orlando Ledbetter of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Talk a little football tonight. It's amazing, Tree. For some people, the season's over. All right. And for a lot of teams, the season will be ending this weekend. It's almost like we just had kickoff weekend, at least on the college side.
Yes, that's true. Like I'm doing my I'm sad. Yeah. But Tim, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's the same way. It is. I mean, I find my sadistic joy in watching the Cowboys just implode. So anytime they
You're
lose,
probably not alone, but go on.
It's always a good day when the Cowboys lose.
I'm telling you, I just get thrilled when I see them get mollywopped like they did last night. Because I just think that it's the ultimate in hubris, in how their owner is. I mean, he should get on out the way.
The owner should get out the way.
Yeah, he's the reason they stink. He's the reason they're having problems right now. That is the reason. He is a bad guy.
How so?
What other owner gives press conferences after every game?
Nobody does.
He's the only one.
Matter of fact, I was listening to the All Sports station out of Dallas this afternoon, hoping to catch people ranting and raving and going crazy, and the bug they have, the little interstitial thing has this is like Sports Talk Radio 107.5, whatever the call letters are. It's Jerry Jones. He's doing it. He's all over the place. The dude is just is to see him suffer like you see him in the box last night. It's awesome. When the Cowboys lose or any New York team loses, it's a good day. Aaron Rodgers has done nothing for the Jets. Nothing for the Jets.
He really hasn't.
He has. We're gonna get to some NFL with our great friend D. Orlando Ledbetter.
Right. I want to go to the college football things. Like I think the FCS, the FBS thing has come out. The rankings
came out tonight. Yeah,
came out today. So I'll just go through the top 12 if it matters. Granted, the top 12 doesn't matter if some teams below that are conference champions. And I was really off base last week thinking Georgia was in. Georgia really was out, even at 12, because below them is Boise State. If Boise wins the conference, they're in. They're one of those Power 5 schools. But you got Oregon number 1. Pardon me?
No, go ahead.
Oregon number 1, Ohio State 2, Texas is at 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5, Notre Dame 6, Alabama 7, Miami 8, Ole Miss 9, Georgia 10, Tennessee 11, and Boise 12. What you don't see in there is Colorado, who could very well win the the Big 12.
Yeah,
they could win their conference. If they win the conference championship game, they get in the playoffs because they are a conference champion.
I thought Georgia was number 8. They've dropped to 10.
Georgia was number 8 in the Associated Press poll, but this is the rankings poll.
Okay.
This is the poll that matters. AP doesn't mean anything. This one does.
Skadoosh. Is that, as you say, skadoosh? That means skadoosh.
Skadoosh, yes, that's right. See, Colorado is 16 on this poll, and if they win their conference, they are one of the final 12.
Right. So and Tennessee is going to be the team that gets knocked out.
Probably. Tennessee will probably be out.
They are 11. They are currently 11.
Yeah, and they have no hope of I mean, they're not going to play anybody else the rest of the year that's going to even enhance their standing. And for what it's worth, Georgia has 2 games left, or 3 games left. 2 games left. They have this week against it's got to be homecoming in Athens. It's against UMass, and then they close out the season Thanksgiving weekend against Georgia Tech, which is not going to be a gimme.
I was going to say that's going to be an interesting game this year.
Right.
will be. It
But
has,
Georgia Tech is right.
and Georgia's typically won that, correct? Am
they
I correct?
typically won that, but I think Kirby's first year, Tech spanked their booty in Athens big time. So it's not like it's unprecedented. It could happen. And Tech's not the old pushover anymore. They're bowl eligible. They're gonna go to a bowl this year. That has been a while since that happened, and they've ruined some seasons. They started the season jacking up Florida State, which I think is like 1-9, and then they beat Miami last year on a fluke play. This year they beat Miami in Atlanta, which knocked them out of really being among the way up there in contention. They're at 8. And see, so I mean, like, people are looking at them as this is why I have a problem with Notre Dame not really being in the conference, but in the conference, because Clemson is really good, but they're 17. But there's no way Clemson jumps Notre Dame or Miami to get in this the final 12. Matter of fact, they made the ACC. People don't even respect it that much anymore. So whoever their champion is probably the only team that's going to come out of the ACC of the final 12. Other conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten will garner more attention and more respect.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I see our great friend is in the. Let me bring him up here. And our guest for the night, the great D. Orlando Ledbetter, man. What's happening, my brother?
Hey, not too much, Rick, Tim, and Tree. Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
No, thank you, man.
We haven't talked to him since he's been in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations, man.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Right there next to Western Butler.
Hey, man,
I was like, I know someone in the Hall of Fame. Awesome.
that's a job well done for your body of work over the years, D-Led. Just well done, brother.
Yeah, you deserve this break this week, brother.
Yeah, I'm figuring out what to do, what kind of little chores I can do around here to kind of get away from football for a little bit.
Well, I want to get you talking about football for a hot second here. You had a big weekend, not just on Sunday, but Saturday you were over. You went to Boulder and you were at the Colorado Utah game. And what was your take on that? What do you think of Colorado?
Yeah, they look really, really good. From I watched them mostly all season, but the Nebraska game was the one I got to sit down and watch the most, when they couldn't stop anything and met the rookie freshman quarterback Royola looked like Johnny Unitas. But they lit into this Utah team on Saturday. They got some teeth on defense. Travis did his thing. Shador was 31 of 40. Had a pick on his first play, but I saw playmakers all over the field. That's going to be problems for a lot of people in the bowl season, or if they can make it all the way to the playoffs, which, I was talking to the college guys there. They're like, hey, they should beat Kansas. They should beat Oklahoma State. And we just saw that BYU lost to Kansas. So right. They have the clearest path to the Big 12 playoff spot. So, and they know it too. So, and they're playing like it.
Hey,
well, that's what we just talked about. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I'm sorry, Tim. I was just going to ask you, D-Led, what are the scouts saying about Travis? What has anybody talked to you how they would play him?
I haven't dug into that yet. That'll be more of a combine thing. But just looking at his size, that he ain't gonna be able to play both ways in the NFL. I would put him at corner and spot play him at wide receiver. So just so he'll stay interested, because he'll probably get bored. But once he got himself acclimated on the defensive side of the ball, I would let him go to some wide receiver. But I haven't heard, different teams will have different plans and so forth. But I just don't think he's big enough. He's not like a big 6'3", 210 Sauce Gardner type cornerback. He's a little smaller than that. So just amazing what he's able to do at the college level. And I've been watching him since high school here in Collins Hill. But I'm thinking in the NFL he's gonna have to pick a side to start out on.
Now you saw them play, and you saw Colorado play, and I know you probably are paying attention to this top 12 teams that'll be in the playoffs and that kind of thing. If they win the conference, they're one of the top 12. They're currently ranked 17, and they're going to be like that. But now beyond that, talking about the NFL, I listened to something today on WFAN out of New York. They floated this notion that, okay, Shedeur Sanders works out with Tom Brady, okay? And they're saying the Raiders will need a coach next year. A package deal where you get Dion and Shedeur in Vegas because Brady's a part owner of Vegas. Have you heard something anywhere near one of these conspiracy theories?
No, nothing on the record. Coach, matter of fact, Coach doesn't even want to coach in the NFL. That's what's on the record. But yeah, the Shedeur to the Raiders is one. Dion's gonna definitely try to influence where he goes. Shedeur to Pittsburgh. You know, Russell Wilson's 35, so even though he's having a great year, that'd be a good placeholder for Shedeur, and he's with a coach you trust. So that's one. He's gonna probably try to stay miles away from New York, both New York teams. And Raiders and Brady thing could be, but Brady's doing TV. He's not like he's gonna be there. Those are just some off-season sessions, but that's I haven't heard anybody on the record on that yet.
That's good.
Is there anybody you're excited about other than, there are lots of teams that are doing well, and there's some, of course, that are not. Anything in particular that you're excited about?
Well, no. Well, the Detroit Lions in the NFL, the long-suffering Lions fans, but college balls this year, there's no superpower, so it's going to be wide open. Lane Kiffin and Kirby Smart lobbying for the SEC, 3-loss teams. Basically, that's what they're saying. We're better than a 2-loss team from Notre Dame or somewhere else. So, but I don't get caught up in all that lobbying. But there's no Alabama, there's no Georgia, there's no Hammer. Oregon's number 1, but I mean Ohio State should have had them beat if they knew how to manage the clock a little better. Indiana, just want to see some new people in the dance there. So I think we're gonna get that, and maybe not just have the same 4 teams that we've been, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. Let's get some new people up in there. I like to see what Colorado can do on the playoff situation. Indiana, that's a good one, but I know that smoke and mirrors, Big Ten ball. They play some.
Thank you for saying that from somebody who's up. Yeah, you're up there. You know about them stuff like. Well, I was going to say that.
I was telling Tim, I was born and raised, brother. I'm a SEC man. I don't know why you keep trying to put me with the Big Ten, man.
People were talking about Coach of the Year in college football, and they were saying Cipriani, hands down, would be the Coach of the Year. And I'm going, okay, so why aren't they talking about Colorado and the turnaround that's happened?
Yes.
Yeah, he said he was coming. So now he's here. It's 8-2. Yeah. But Indiana coming off the mat. I mean, they haven't been good since Bill Mallory was there. And that I was covering the Big Ten then. They had the little blip with Randall L. And Cam Cameron. They might have went to the Blue Bonnet Bowl or something, but yeah. But Signetti, that's a good one. Coach Prime should definitely be in contention. Lane Kiffin, but they just went out and bought them a team, so I don't know how much coaching he's doing. But yeah, those are some of the front runners for Coach of the Year.
We're talking about front runners, Coach of the Year. I've been saying this since the first week of the season. How is Travis Hunter not the runaway for the Heisman? The Heisman is the best football player in the country, right? Is there a
Yeah,
better?
no doubt. I think he is. I don't see where anybody's saying he's not. The kid out of Boise's putting up some numbers, but the quarterbacks have fallen off. It's really Shador and Travis. You just got to pick between those two. I don't know what they're saying, but I know in my eyes, I know when I do watch. Ohio State's got some receivers, but they don't. They're not doing anything Heisman worthy. Those about the best players I've seen. Georgia doesn't have anything. Alabama doesn't have anything. I don't know how Ole Miss is winning, but yeah. So just based on what I've seen, it's pretty clear who the best player is. I don't understand.
Let me just say this: when Charles Woodson won, I think that was '97. I covered him. He was a great player for sure. But man, when they put him on offense, man, they're just running those screen passes. They would get him out in open space. This he's running routes, man. He runs a whole route tree, and then he comes back, and then he locks you down on the other side. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Charles Woodson at all. But guys, what this guy's doing, I've never seen in my time watching football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'd have to concur with you on that. On the college level, you got to go back to the old Red Grange days. You start talking about two-way players. But in our modern era, we haven't seen that, and there have been a couple other candidates that could have done it. But they, Devin Hester, they tried to play him a little bit in Miami at other spots, but that didn't work out too good. But yeah, this kid is a full-time, legitimate two-way starter. And we just haven't seen that.
But when you guys are talking about that guy, I'm thinking about, like, you look the Heisman House commercials. Both of those cats could walk into that Heisman House and be better than half the dudes that in there in the commercial.
I haven't seen the commercial. Who's in the commercial?
Oh, just like Desmond, you have like there's some of the more sketchy Heisman people, like Tebow. I mean,
Tebow's in there.
Tebow, Ingram from Alabama's in there. Some other cats who are really good, like Billy Sims, not Billy Sims, but
But what concerns me is the persona of Deion, and he's got people out there that we know that don't like the way he operates, and I hope they don't. I hope the Heisman voters don't take their dislike for Deion out on the utter brilliance of Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he discussed that after the game on Saturday. We would put that in the story too. That he's like, we're on TV, we're on national TV every week. You gotta, vote what you see. You've been watching. You know who the best player is in the country. And he was like, hey, we're not doing any petitioning. We're not doing any campaigns. We're just going to play football every Saturday. And if y'all can't see he's the best player, then, something's wrong with you.
Is there always a lot of petitioning for that? I'm not aware. I'm not, as privy to the information as you are.
Yeah, they some schools do campaigns and send out bobbleheads and mail you. I was a Heisman voter in the 80s when I was covering Ohio State, 80s, early 90s. So, yeah, they'll send out. They used to mail, publicity materials. Most recently, the SID at Houston made a bobblehead of Ed Oliver trying to push the defensive tackle from Houston. So yeah, schools.
Does a bobblehead sway you at all? I'm just like, what?
Well, now you just have another bobblehead on your.
How many do you have now, sir? How many bobbleheads do you have now?
I'm not really sure, but I got this Outcast one right here from.
Oh, sweet!
Yes,
I'm jealous of that.
Got me that one, but. But they wasn't asking me to vote him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or nothing.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I was a Heisman voter too up until I think 2008. And as the internet came along, you started getting the emails and all
Mhm.
that, all kind of stuff. But you don't even. I know I didn't. I'm sure D-Led didn't either. You watch what you see, and that's what my eyes is telling me about this kid. It's not even close. It is not even close. Well, let's keep it moving, man.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
Well, you're at
And
the midway point now, D-Led, when the NFL and you watched two horrendous games back to back, and the one 2 weeks ago in New Orleans, whereas I had spent my Sunday defending Young Wei Koo, because everybody acted like that he was the worst thing since sliced bread, and I started telling my people I was really sorry that the Falcons got shut out this past Sunday in Denver. Since he doesn't matter, the kickers don't matter. Only 6 points they got were from this cat. Yeah, he's been
It's a bad
inconsistent
weekend for
this year,
kickers.
but
I'm just going to say that. It was a bad weekend for kickers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
a lot of block kicks, a lot of missed kicks.
Yes.
But Raheem is really in his corner, correct? Or is that just something he has to say because that's all he got?
No, he's in his corner. He was here when they were looking for a kicker under Dan Quinn, and then Koo surfaced and won the job. Has kicked a bunch of game winners since, and he feels entitled to stick with him through some tough times. So, his kicking coach is John Carney, and they said that there wasn't nothing major wrong with him, leg strength there, just mechanic type thing. So just kind of like a golfer getting the swing back together. So there is the tie that they gave him his start. They're gonna stick with him through thick and thin. But I'm thinking if he shanks a couple more field goals, they'll have some people in here trying out. But they haven't had anybody in here trying out yet, so you have to hold them as true to their word thus far.
Is Detroit gonna be the team this year out of the NFC?
Yes, I think so. Unless the coach goes for it on fourth down every time and mess it up like he did last year.
I tell you, I actually went to see them play Sunday. D. I was stunned about their team speed. Seeing them live and on TV, they got dogs everywhere. The defense, it is stunning. It's like me looking at Travis Hunter. I just hadn't seen this in the 35 years I lived in Detroit. Kirby Joseph has 7 interceptions and leads the league. He's not even the best safety on the team. That's Brian Branch.
Right.
They lose Aiden Hutchinson. The defensive points have actually gone down. I mean, they got Ali McNeil, DJ Reader on the inside. You can't run on them. You can't throw on them. And I ain't got to the offense yet. But you know what, D-Led? It all starts with that offensive line. And I saw it Sunday, how they just push people out of the way. Gibbs and Montgomery, they untouched to the 2 or 3 yards down the field. That sets up everything. And then you got J-Mo and St. Brown, and we know Goff can't move, but he doesn't have to because he's behind a fortress, and he is accurate. I was stunned at how good they look. We lost you, D-Led.
You lost your audio.
I don't know. I didn't do anything.
There you go. There you go.
Welcome back.
All right. Yeah. The book on them is you could attack the corners. That's what they were trying to upgrade.
No, you can't.
Over the off season. That's the book on that.
I mean,
nobody's
that's
able to do it. But they're supposedly not going to hold up. Branch is really a nickel/safety, so they got him out of the way. Kirby's a ball hog type of guy, but the pass rushes, the Zadarius should help. You lost the big one with Anzalone getting hurt. Now one of them young guys are gonna have to play, either Campbell or Rodrigo. But yeah, I don't think that defense is that fortress that that they gonna shut down anybody in the AFC that they see.
All they got to do is be one
and
team over there. Have you seen the stats?
Yeah, I'm not that. That's the weakest link for me is the Detroit defense.
The weakest link for me is for sure of the two units.
And the quarterback, because he can't throw 5 interceptions every time and win.
And
Yeah, that's a rarity right there. My gosh. But on the NFC, what is it? Buffalo and KC? Is that going to be the two?
Oh no, you got a lot more activity over there, I believe, than there's
just Baltimore. You look at Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I looked at those guys, yeah, but I'm thinking, just watching the game the other day, Sunday, it's like that.
The Chargers are coming. The Broncos are a little bit better. They're gonna be in the playoffs probably. But yeah, Kansas City and Baltimore on their own plane, and Buffalo are on one plane. And then you got some other up and coming teams over in the AFC. And I just see the AFC record against the NFC teams. They're just pounding the NFC teams. I know the South is not a good barometer, but they were 1-12
right
against the AFC after the Falcons lost. So I think it's like that. 8-4, because the AFC is much stronger than the NFC. So
we'll get a good measuring stick because Buffalo comes to Detroit in December, sometime in December. I don't know when. So that will be interesting because if you got to come to Ford Field, man, that's a problem right there. The one game they lost this year was against Tampa Bay. They were 1 of 7 in the red zone. Mm-hmm. They dominated that game. I'm telling you, this team is blowing that game in San Francisco. These dudes are locked in, man. That don't mean you're going to win it or anything, but they are playing some amazing football. And this is from a dude that's been watching, okay, when the real Lions going to show up? These are real Lions, man.
No. Are you going to tell me that America's team is going to blow the NFC South with the down the stretch with all the games they have left at Vegas? They got the Giants and then Carolina, and with the Chargers coming in, you got the great Gazoo out there at receiver, Ladd McConkey. That's what he looked like with that helmet on Sunday night.
Wow!
But he was making that catch out there.
Well, what's going to happen is that the team that showed up early in the season to play the Eagles and the Chiefs,
right?
And they had the Chiefs beat. If that team comes back, then the Falcons will be fine. But if we see the team that we saw the last 2 weeks in New Orleans and Denver, then they could lose the whole thing. They could definitely. If that team shows up, there's no way they're beating the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Commanders. And then they're gonna be on the books to lose to the Giants, Raiders, and Panthers. So if they play like that, they can forget it all. What do
you think about the Chargers?
I like him. I like Harbaugh. He only playing smash mouth football. He ain't really doing too much, and he got a quarterback to throw as much as he wants to. And they dusted J.K. Dobbins off the scrap heap, and he got a running game. That's all he want to do. He's not trying to throw too much, and he's punching people in the mouth. They blew the lead against the Bengals, and they should have lost that game. But like we said, the kickers were horrible last week, and so McPherson missed 2 field goals late, and then cost them in overtime. But yeah, so the Chargers have been quite impressive under Coach Harbaugh. He wants to play a certain way, and if you don't want to play football that Sunday, they're gonna run over you.
Are you surprised that Peterson still got a job today with Jacksonville?
Yeah, I am. Chap, the owner may just be wanting to wait till the season's over. They paid everybody down there, before they had to. Soupy Campbell, the quarterback, they paid them like they were going to the playoffs. And That team just has not responded. And, now they got to try to look at, if they can salvage the team or they got to start all over again.
Hey, D, we
Let
still
me
got
ask this.
Go ahead, Tree.
So, I don't know if D-Light knows this, but I'm a bit of a bandwagoner. And so I like winners. Tim, why are you rolling your eyes?
Because it's true. You're a bandwagoner, but go on.
I like winners. Will I ever be able to jump back on? I'm from Atlanta, so will I ever be able to jump back on the bandwagon of Atlanta? Because I'm like, I want to root for my home team, but I'm like, eesh. So right now I'm like all in the Lions camp, of course, because of Rickey. But I would love to be able to root for a team. I don't have this, like, people always stick with the team and they follow it and they love it, win or lose. But I'm a bandwagoner. But I want to support my home team. Will there ever be a day in my lifetime that I get to say, "Yay, Falcons"?
Yeah, I think so. It might be 2 years down the road, but
I can hang on for 2 more years. 2 more years, I might can live for that.
Kirk Cousins going to take you so far.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is build a team around him because, you need all the draft picks have been on the offensive side of the ball. Now you got to start drafting defense, and these guys that they have drafted already need to start playing. And I'm talking about Richie Grant, 2nd round pick, Arnold Ebiketie, 2nd round pick, Troy Anderson, 2nd round pick. Rukaroru, you need them guys to be players, and so far they're not been players. So once they get that build out, then you drop in your big time quarterback that's been sitting and watching, and then maybe you take off like the Lions did. But
I think Pennison's gonna do that too, man. I really do.
But the X factor is if they can build a defense, and they haven't. Their draft picks haven't been very, very good thus far.
So before I turn 80 or so, then there's a chance.
Okay, there's a chance.
See, what
I'm gonna keep hope alive.
A great coach.
Say what, Rickey?
What makes Mike Tomlin such a great coach? Steelers 8-2. I mean, they've been trying to run him out of Pittsburgh for about 10 years now, but he continues, of course, to win. And now he's 8-2. He's the only guy that can just, other than the guy in Kansas City, knock off Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar's beat them one time.
Mm-hmm. Well, their thing is it's a system that they've been running, for decades. That defense, they got the right parts. They draft the right people. They know exactly what they're looking for. And they're in the middle of the draft every year because they always got a winning record. So they got good scouts, they got good talent, and you got a coach that could communicate his vision to the team and how they're going to play and how they're going to, attack people. He's one of the coaches that still tackles in practice. Probably had to get a waiver from the union, but they're going to play tough, hard-nosed football. He's able to communicate that to his players, and they're able to give it to him on Sundays.
So there's none of this watching stuff on Wednesdays, don't hit stuff that some other teams like to do, and then get out there on Sunday and miss tackles. I'm not calling any names.
Oh, no, that's the Falcons, and they had what they call walk-through Wednesdays, the last 2 Wednesdays instead of football practice. And they pointed out to me that, hey, what they get to do is like, okay, if they don't practice, they don't have to talk to the media, and you can't. Well, they can talk to the media, but you can't shoot none of practice. So I'm like, okay. So they pointed out to me that it's 6 teams that have walkthrough Wednesdays, and I wish I'd have got all 6 of their names because I would have see who won and who lost this week on walkthrough Wednesdays. But yeah, it's the whole analytics and performance people and soft tissue injuries and it's I'm like I don't know how you get better at football by doing the walkthrough. I'm sure you can right before the game go over some plays real quick, do that, but as far as replacing a practice with that, that's a little bit dubious to me.
Now I want to go back to talking about Pittsburgh and how they are in the middle of the pack in their draft. And that pretty much in scouting, and then I look over at the Cowboys, where you have an owner that pretty much thinks he knows it all, and they can't get players over there, and they don't do well in free agency, yet, it seems like nothing's going to change in Dallas, except for Mike McCarthy losing his job.
Yeah, well, he listens to Will McClay, former longtime executive in the league. Will, it's a good friend of mine. Gary Mullen played for the Detroit Drive in the World League, the Indoor Arena League, and Will and him are tight. So he's got a scouting system in place, but they can't, protect them from, the final decisions. So he's not actually breaking down the film and doing. He's a general manager in title, but he's not actually making the picks and stuff. Otherwise he would have drafted Johnny Manziel too. They had to talk him out of that one. But the Browns people, they couldn't talk them out of it. But but when you're the owner, you get to run it the way you want to, and he's running in the ground, so he gets what he deserves. The thing for him is the team's still worth $2 billion, and the people still come to the games, and they sell out places on the road, but at some point the people are gonna be like, hey, where's the bang for my buck at?
Yeah.
I mean, even when he lost on his birthday, I don't know if that cared, but they made such a big deal about it. And I'm just like, I mean, like you say, he's still the owner. He's still making money. So,
He's making money now.
Birthday or not.
They hadn't won a home game this year, right? And they still make
correct.
And then the next game is Thanksgiving against with the Giants. You're going to have that wonderful backup quarterback matchup on Thanksgiving next week.
Tommy DeVito
and Cooper Rush.
And we were talking.
Trey Lance can't even smell it.
We were talking about tackling now. What's the limit on days you can hit now? They get X amount of days. You know that offhand?
I don't know it offhand, but everybody's got the same amount.
Okay. Yeah. You just can't go out there and throw your pads on every day anymore.
I want to switch.
And we've seen that the tackling has definitely suffered.
I want to switch gears for a hot second, D-Led, because I know you're an esteemed alumnus of Howard University, and I see where they played a game this past weekend against North Carolina Central. I'm sure you're aware of the aftermath of that. It seemed like it was Brawl Saturday for HBCUs. What was happening with that one over there?
Yeah, I don't pay
36 players.
Yeah, I don't pay any attention to that because that's a white media narrative. As soon as the black folks have a little unrest, that's the only time they want to cover the HBCU. So I ignore that. I didn't. Somebody sent me a text, and I just said, "We about that life." We here for all the smoke that they wanted, and leave it at that. But yeah, no, I'd much rather talk about our basketball team. That one of the guys, they were down here in Georgia, and I've seen the football team twice this year, and Coach Scott does a great job. We got some fine young men on the team. A lot of kids from Georgia on the team up there too. So I'd rather talk about the 33 guys who are MEAC all academics. Man, I ain't seen nobody writing about that.
Sure.
I hear you. But I'm looking at you, the son of one of the NFL running back. I'm saying this because I was up there in MetLife Stadium getting smoked. Up in
I was there. Yeah, Andrew and James's son Eden is our. We got a couple tailbacks, but Eden is one of them, and he's a sophomore. And he rode us to the Celebration Bowl last year, but this year our quarterback just is not a good playmaker. So we haven't been able to do our whole air show this year. Hopefully, we got a better quarterback coming in next year.
I got you.
In terms of post-game activities and things of that nature, the Celebration Bowl is doing away with the post-game handshake this year. And there are other schools that are You know what? Let's just nix the post game handshake. You don't have to do that. It's you know, you just got your butt kicked. If you want to go in the locker room later and see a guy, hey, that's cool. But to just avoid some of this, uh, schools are doing away with the post game handshake.
Yeah, that's sad. That means we can't, in a show of sportsmanship, shake hands anymore. That's pretty bad. That's pretty sad state of the times we're living in.
It is. Uh, you know, Jawan Howard, man, you can't put Jawan in a handshake. It was like, after the Wolverines get beat, he wants to whip somebody's ass, man. We didn't win
Yeah,
the
he should
game.
just
We
do
don't
a
win
better.
the fight.
Just do a better job of coaching next time. Don't what's fighting gonna prove?
Now, delay back to HBCU because I know you're really entrenched in that, and with the postseason, I think they have the All-Star game down in New Orleans. Is that still happening again this year?
Yeah, I've
HBCU
seen
guys.
them the Legacy Bowl at Tulane. I've seen some of the invites going out and so forth. That's usually a bad time. It's usually right in the middle of the Super Bowl week. But yeah, the legs, and it's after the bowl games. During it's just a bad time. And I knew the first time they had trouble with the linemen. You got a lot of skill players, but the lines were kind of shaky. But Doug Williams and them are Shaq Harris and them are still going at it, and I'm sure it's improved. I might try to get down there this year because I'm not going to teach at UGA in the spring this year, so I'll be open to get down there and try to help publicize some of the kids that should be getting drafted by the NFL teams that they just haven't draft the HBCU kids here of late.
What more do they have to do? Because it seems like HBCU kid getting drafted is a super outlier. I mean, you got to be just like off the charts incredible to get noticed. What do you have to do for the guys who aren't that? It's not like a Jerry Rice coming out of Walt Payton,
Yeah, you got it's a height, weight, speed thing. Strength is going to be involved. You got to fit the physical profile for them to start looking at you, and then the good scouts look beyond that. Like Tony Dungy was telling me when they were recruiting Antoine Bethea from Howard, he was only 165 pounds. So he was like, well, he had to put in his mind that what would he be like at 185 pounds? Because they know they could put 20 pounds on him. And they height and weight and everything. So, but that's an old school scout. He ain't looking at analytics. He's looking at football playing. That's how Chuck Noll taught him how to scout. He gave him a clipboard and a pen and a whistle. And he said, write down what you see. So he wrote down what he saw. And, he would come back with, his recommendations and so forth. So, but yeah, I remember the kid at Fayetteville State a couple years ago. He's playing with the Chiefs. I think Joshua Williams. He was long. He was 6'3", like 170. But they looked at him as a 190, and he ran well and tested well and all that. So, the thing is information. And dealing with the HBCUs, I mean, I could barely get the SID to call me back sometimes. And so, then you want to know the legitimacy of the roster. They need a better way to communicate with the teams and the players that they got. I remember the guy up at Lane College, Willie Jeffries is keeping players around for 6-7 years that using different names, just some of the shadiness needs to be eradicated, and the information needs to be, truthful and forthwith. And I'm just saying, I've been, I started covering HBCUs and I've seen a lot, but
I've seen too much.
I think we all.
But I like Ramon Harewood at Morehouse. He got drafted 3rd round by the Ravens. He didn't last a couple years, so they learned something. He had the height and size and weight, but he had a heart. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight them real men in the trenches in the NFL. So he didn't last but 2 years.
So you said you're going to be teaching at UGA. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, I'm not this semester. I've been teaching there for 9 years,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, I taught at Clark from '06 to 15 there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna step back and just kind of just kind of chill out and do the off season football wise, and maybe play some golf.
Okay.
And D-Led, we're gonna let you go in a couple of minutes, man. But I do want to ask you a little more about the state of HBCU football. Speaking of HBCU football, shout out to my alma mater, Virginia Union University,
Yeah,
CIAA
playoff.
champs, Go
Woohoo.
Panthers. D, I love what you said about being able to project uh, potential players. Uh,
Mhm.
are there any teams you think that are better than that than most? I know the Steelers used to be really good about that.
Well, that was Bill Nunn. You got Sam Somerville up at the Bears, who went to Jackson State. So they had Tariq Cohen out of North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T. I'm sorry,
A&T,
and
yeah.
Brandon Parker is still here. He's backup tackle with the Falcons. He was the big tackle then, but no, I don't think these scouts even know. Some of these scouts are from the Ivy League. They do guys. I don't even think they know what the I
Yeah.
don't even think they know how to get to Laramie, Mississippi, or Itabena or some of the other fine outposts in the SWAC and the MEAC.
But look, I got.
Dover, Delaware.
Well,
It's a hike getting to Dover, Delaware.
I was excited about Kadero Hodge. I didn't know where he went to school when I found that out. I'm like, oh, the cat went to PV. He's a Prairie
Yeah.
View.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to Prairie View. You got to scout, see him on film, then investigate. Everybody's got quality ESPN footage now, so it's it's a little bit easier to identify the players. But they got to just do the work on that, and they say they are, but the results say otherwise. Because then they're trying to get a deal basically. And Bill Nunn, when he was recruiting, they knew they couldn't wait for Lynn Swan because he played on USC and everybody saw him. But he calculated that he could wait for Starworth, who they had higher than Lynn Swan, because he played at Alabama A&M.
Yeah, right.
And so they did. That's how that went down, because they knew more about the HBCU players than the other teams did, so they could get him, down his shell in the third round when he was like a first rounder. They had their own homework, but now you got all these scouting services and stuff.
Kansas City was good about that too. The
Yeah,
Chiefs
but that was Hank Stram back in the day. Yeah, but
yeah,
that was
they were good
old
about
school.
that too.
That was the old AFL and the Cowboys. But that was when you had 15-round drafts. You have 200 people in training camps.
But Doug should talk about that. Essentially, that they would try to get the HBCU players on the cheapest side. They try to get us with a Coca-Cola and a moon pie. They won't draft you. They'll wait till free agency when they get you in bulk. HBCU players, as opposed to they don't mind a bust out of Notre Dame or a bust out of Washington State, but they will they feel like they get run over if they miss on a kid from the HBCU.
Yeah, there's some of that for sure, but because I know Isaiah Crowell started at Georgia, had some problems, ended up at Alabama State, and lasted to the third round when he was probably a first round back. He had a brief career, still does some work down in the community in Columbus, Georgia, but they definitely because that's what you see after the draft. Because the big kid from Howard, he was like 6'8", 340. Anquan Dakha from Canada. He's 6'8", he's 340. But I watched some of our games. I didn't really see him more than nobody over. but so but then but he's in somebody's camp now. He was a practice squad guy, so that's where you'll see a lot of HBCU players at now is on the practice squads. Like the Falcons got a kid named Chris Blair. He lit it up. He went to Alcorn, and so I was like, "Hey, are you familiar with Donald Driver?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, he's that's I was like, well, I covered him at Green Bay. He's like, yeah, he came back to my pro day, and he's been coaching them, and." So I had a good little story there, but they know their history, and I think this kid's gonna probably have to play because the Falcons receivers are all nicked up, and he should. I don't see why he's not playing in the first place, but it's a thin line right there with the HBCU talent and getting that opportunity. Once you get the opportunity, you gotta make the most of it. And like Hodge, he came up through special teams. Now he's a 6-year, 7th-year veteran. He's probably not making as much, but he's got a pension now. So
Hodge played here a year, I believe.
Yeah, with Detroit, he was big time up there in Cleveland for a little while, and he's some kind of internet Instagram star with some alternative character thing that he does that one of our guys wrote about, but I don't,
Who is that?
I'm not into all that. Cordarrelle Hodge.
Okay.
It is. The social media name is Red. I don't know. You can Google that social media and Cordarrelle Hodge, and it'll come up.
Okay, here's one question I wanted before I let you go. On the Kansas City, the goal line situations around there with Falcons and Kansas City, and it doesn't seem like they made that big of a deal about Pitts being interfered with in the end zone. The Falcons should have beaten the Chiefs. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. But why wasn't a bigger deal made out of the
part of it is because of
interference in the end zone like that?
Yeah, part of it is because the coach ran from it and didn't stand up and say what was on his mind. He was like, hey, I don't want to be fined. I don't want to lose my money, blah, blah, blah. When, all he had to do was say, hey, that was a bad call. And then, it took off. So it's a meme out there now about, I'll ask a question. And he's like, Lit, you trying to get me fined. I like my money. So he chose that route. He chose that route as opposed to, dealing with the issue. I mean, we're gonna write about it, so might as well say what you need to say.
Right,
and
we're gonna write about it, right?
Right. So it ain't like we're not gonna write about it, but that's what happened there. But now all of that's in the wash because they got blown out in 3 of the last 5 games. So all that good, they started off like they was gonna be legit. Now we're starting to question it. And poor Miss Tree, she wants some happiness in her life, in her football life, for her home scholar.
What about Morehouse?
I think she deserves that. So
that. What about Morehouse? What do you think about Tim's team, Morehouse?
Tread carefully, sir. Tread carefully.
I think coaches. My cousin's the D-back coach, Isaiah Bird. His brother was Israel. No, Israel's Bird there. Isaiah played at Tennessee. Isaac Bird played at Tennessee. But so they got to get some players. He's got to get his NIL money up. He got to get some players. Recruit Atlanta, recruit Savannah. Get some kids that could make some grades over there.
Savannah needs some players, right? I'm here in Savannah, so
send some of them kids from Beach and some of the good football players from Savannah Christian up here.
Yeah, but we need them here in Savannah, don't we? In Savannah State.
Well, out there, no, they probably want to come to Atlanta.
Probably.
Hey, G-Led, let people know about the Bowtie, the legendary Bowtie Chronicles, how they can read your great work at the AJC.
Yeah, we ended the podcast this year at 472 episodes. We got new people in here from publishers and all that, and they're going to rebrand things moving forward, so we'll get back to it at some point. But they can find me at ajc.com, and on my Twitter is at DOrlandoAJC. And right now the Bowtie Chronicles podcast is in hiatus, but once we get it back up and going, we'll be sure to let everybody know how they can listen to it again.
Please do.
Man, it is always a pleasure, man. We do have a Hall of Famer in the house tonight. Yeah, so you know he's gonna be good. The great D. Orlando Ledbetter.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you all take care. I'm glad I was able to come on and give y'all some bye-week love.
Thank you.
Take care,
Always a
D.
pleasure.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right.
Thank you.
All righty. Take care. Bye now.
That's D. Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC. Great brother. One of the best dudes I've had the pleasure of knowing in this business. I would tell you the story.
No offense, Tim. No offense, Tim.
None taken.
Me and Tim, that goes without saying. I just don't want to play on the same basketball team with Tim because I know I'll never see the ball. And you know what? Those two Columbus kids on Rickey's team don't pass the ball either. I mean, what's going on?
Hey, once you come out of Muskogee County, it's something about it. It's a magnetism of the basketball. Your hands.
Nah.
You get the handsies.
No, that's a great conversation. I love talking sports and football with D-Led. Just a great dude. I got to tell you this quick story. I may have told you before, but back in the day, actually it was 2000, covering the NCAA tournament, Michigan State. I followed them the year they won it, and they had a round in Milwaukee. D-Led was, I should have mentioned this while he was on the show. D-Led was in Milwaukee then. He was covering the Packers. And my fraternity's Kappa Alpha Psi, D-Led's Omega Psi Phi. It was a Tyson fight or a Vander Holyfield fight that the Omegas were having. And D-Led invited myself and some of the other writers from Detroit. I think three of us were brothers, and this one guy who happens to be white. He said, "Man, all y'all, come on. It's like we could come this for Omega's on it. No, y'all my guest tonight." And we had such a great time. And the gentlemen of Omega, they were so great. But nobody had more fun than my friend Dean Howe, who recently passed away. He was the white guy of the group. He had more fun hanging. I don't think Dean's ever been around that many black men in his life. By the end of the night, he was trying to figure, hey man, how can I play at Omega? Thank you
That's
so
awesome.
much. Man,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, great conversation. Great. Any final thoughts, guys?
Oh,
I think you get all these football championships. Miles won the SIAC. They blew out Clark like 52 to something ridiculous. Jackson State won the SWAC East. They're going to play in the SIAC, the championship.
Southern, right?
Pardon me?
Southern?
Southern. They're playing Southern for the SWAC championship, which I thought was kind of weird. I don't know if it's going to be Southern or not. Southern's in first place, but they always Southern and Grambling blow off the SWAC championship because they pretty much could make a little bit more money down there on Thanksgiving weekend in the Bayou Classic. So they used to not go to the NCAA playoffs because of the Bayou Classic. They'd rather do that, than lose that first round game somewhere like in Missoula, Montana. Like my 5 years in Jackson was always a first round exit in the NCAA playoffs. So they'd rather do it that way. And then you got Virginia Union winning the CIAA. I know Rickey's going to the championship.
Yeah. Hopefully we can not get embarrassed when we go to the playoffs because we usually get pounded when we go to the Division II playoff. And I'm looking at Jackson State's going to host the SWAC championship December the 7th,
Right.
but it's not saying who they're going to play.
That's because they say like Southern is not going to be the person, the team. I'm thinking that's what it is because Grambling and Southern just routinely don't don't take part in that, even though that's a week after the Bayou Classic. They generally don't.
Right. December 7th at Veterans Stadium, 1:00.
Right. I remember one year.
No, go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, one year I was about to get married, and I scheduled my Initially, the wedding was going to be that week after the first round, the second round weekend of the NCAA playoffs, and the SID Jackson State said, "You're going to schedule your wedding the second week, right? The second week of the playoffs." And I'm like, Sam, you know y'all ain't gonna win the first round. I'm not even worried about having to reschedule the wedding. he was not thrilled. I'm not even worried about rescheduling. Y'all one and done every year. So
my final thought is I didn't want to brag, but I did finish a marathon this weekend.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Did that really happen?
Yes. I mean, I don't want to brag about it, but I'm proud.
I didn't get it in time. Okay, yeah.
What is that? Oh, what? Oh, there we are. Thanks for showing up.
Oh, that's pretty
cool. Got a medal and everything.
I mean, I'm no athlete or anything, but this whole show is about, you get what you get. And so
hey, do you
26.2 miles, 26.2.
You want to share your time?
We didn't talk about 6 hours and 23 minutes I was running.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. It was wind aided, Rickey.
It was what?
Wind aided.
Wow. What a hater.
Congratulations, Tree. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome. Is that your first one this year?
Well, it's my first one. And my last is what I always said. But, it's always next year.
Okay.
Always next year.
Well, we're going to do it. We'll be back next Tuesday.
All right. I'll see you guys then. Be kind, everybody.